Hello YouTube and welcome to another Gooner Sulz Reacts. This one we have got West Ham versus Arsenal. Now we all know how that one ended. 3-3 apiece, a point apiece, a draw. That's all we got out of the game. Now I'm going to react to the game, but let's hit the intro. And yes, guys, welcome to the channel. This is where we react to what's just gone on. Hi, Melina, you okay? We react to what a game that we've just had. It finished West Ham 3, Arsenal 3. Now, we know what an epic game that was. You know, an absolutely embarrassing performance in the first half. We saved it in the second now. I'm not happy with the point. I'm not happy with how we did. But what I am going to say is that I'm proud for the boys fighting back. That is one thing I will say. The mentality shift that we've had recently has been good. I'm not happy that we were 3 goals down. And I think this is the common misconception people are having on Twitter, especially when we talk about this situation. It's not the fact that we're happy. It's just, you know, we should never have been 3 goals down. Now, all 3 goals came in a different manner, but we will be diverging into that. Now, it seemed to me we were discombobulated. We didn't seem to have a game plan. We seemed to just be all over the place. It seemed like in the first sort of 30 minutes, we didn't really know what we were doing. I didn't understand the game plan. I didn't understand the approach. Yes, Arteta's partly to blame for some of it, in a sense of why was Aubameyang out on the right, and why was, you know, there were certain questionable decisions. Maybe his approach was completely wrong. But at the end of the day, you know, he can only set the team out and he expects them to go and perform and set his tactics out. Lacazette said something quite interesting after the game, where he said if we had respected the manager's orders, that the result might have been different. If we had listened to the manager, we might have had a different result now. Which goes to show they didn't listen. They were arrogant, they were selfish, and they didn't listen to what the manager asked them. Now, that could mean many things. Is that the approach or simply the execution that they couldn't do? It could have been, you know, a false thing. And I don't look too deep into it because I don't think there's a lot to read into that. I don't think it's a disrespect manner. I just think it's one of those where, I don't know, maybe because I knew West Ham would come toe-to-toe and attack the hell out of Arsenal, because that's, if you're ever going to beat an Arsenal side, that's how you do it. You come and you attack us. But obviously what I do want to do is kind of get into the game in a little bit more detail and kind of diverge into what's just happened. So as we know, it was 3-3. You know, Jesse Lingard with an absolute screamer of a goal, perfect shot, not a lot you can do. The only thing that I am a bit annoyed about in this situation was what on earth was David Luiz doing? You're supposed to mark your man and stop him from shooting. You know, you should be pressing. Yes, a lot of people are saying, where was Chambers? He was the only one not picking the man up. And yes, he did see Jesse Lingard was free and didn't take the man up, which is fair, which is a fair criticism. But what I will say is, in situations like this, you know, David Luiz should have done better to not just keep backing away. But a brilliant strike. Now, Jarrod Bowen's goal, this was just shocking. This is where I was absolutely embarrassed by the team. One of the things that you get taught, one of the first things you get taught in football is to never turn your back on the ball when it's a set piece or in a situation where the ball is not in a dead situation. Now, a lot of people, you know, there's a small percentage of fans who are saying that Paul Merson was taking the spray out, hence why the players were, and they were talking to the referee. But the problem is, you don't switch off. There has to be more leaders in that team telling them not to switch off. Now, what happened was Jesse Lingard, with a brilliant bit of awareness, puts in Jarrod Bowen, who had a, let's be quite honest, quite a shit shot that kind of went in. Leno should have done better. You don't get beaten that easily on your near post. That should never have happened, but it did. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened, because Leno recently has been quite off form. that's maybe due to the fact that he's so comfortable being the number one that anything he does seems to not get him out of the team. We're not even rotating him for the Europa League. I'm not saying that we need to be doing that. And number one, of course, it's Leno. But I think Matt Ryan needs to be coming in just to show that no place on that pitch is secured for one player. And I think that's what's happening. He's getting too comfortable, because if you look at the players who aren't performing this season, are all comfortable players. They're players who know that their position in the team is secured, and that's the problem. But then we go into the third goal in the 32nd minute. A great ball in. Antonio gets up, leaps up, out muscles. I think it was David Luiz, headers the ball, and Souček just gets the last touch, kind of on the line, and that made it 3-0. At this point, I was like, yeah, this game's dead and over. But before I get onto the Arsenal side, I will just read a few comments out. What the heck was that performance on the pitch? We couldn't shoot in the first half, so West Ham United had to do it for us. What an atrocious first half. Arsenal's match winners were on the bench. The players and the manager are covering each other. It's very clicky. Doesn't the players reflect the manager, and the players reflect to a degree assembled? I'm not 100% in a disagreement with that. I just feel like sometimes the players' abilities they can't output what the manager's asking them to do. And I don't think it's always that case, because it's strange how after water breaks last season, and when we come out in the second half, we'll see a different team. Clearly, these guys can't motivate themselves, and they need to be held, the hand held and motivated 24/7 just so they can get through a game, which is part of the problem. The manager can only set you out, get you fired up to start, but it seems like they have no motivation to do that until they're in the shitters, basically, until they're not down, until there's not a goal conceded. In this case, 3 goals conceded to wake them up. Then what happened was, a brilliant ball from Chambers, who then obviously Lacazette with a brilliant piece of play where he kind of like flicks it up and then tries to do kind of like a side kick in, which deflects. I thought it was Craig Dawson who got the own goal, but okay, it was Thomas Souček who then kind of with the slightest of deflections, I think it was going wide, to be honest. When I kind of look back at it, Thomas Souček kind of deflects it into goal, and it's 3-1. This was the first, time I was so disappointed in a goal, because I was just like, this game is just written off for me. I didn't have hope. This is the first time I actually lost hope that we'd ever come back from a game. But then what happened was we got into the second half, and I was like, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, there's a small chance we might actually come back. We started off, we pegged them into their own box, and we did very well. We came out wanting to win this. We came out with the mentality we should have started with. And this is where it becomes a problem. We start games so crap that it affects our overall gameplay. Now, obviously, we know what happened. Callum Chambers, once again, with an absolute brilliant ball in, who then Craig Dawson, to be honest, this is what you have to do. You have to be whipping balls in and asking questions of that defense, and that's what he did. And Craig Dawson had nothing more but put it in his own goal. Yeah, people are going to say, oh, it's fortunate that we got 2 own goals, but guess what? If you're not putting those balls in, if you're not asking those questions, how on earth is that ever going to happen? So I'm sorry, but I do disagree with the fan base when they sit there and say that, we needed West Ham to win us the game. How did they score those own goals? They didn't run into their own goals, did they? Unless I'm mistaken. There were balls in. Lacazette, with a brilliant piece of play that, with a shot that could have gone in, even without the deflection, possibly. But the deflection made it go in for 100%. And then Craig Dawson, you have to ask the question, if that ball doesn't ever get played in the game, how is that going in? So I do have to disagree with the fan base saying that we needed their help to, score. We were on them. We were ruthless. And then, obviously, right at the end, Nicola Pepe with an absolute peacher of a ball onto Lacazette. All he had to do was just direct it goalwards. And that's what happened. Lacazette got the 3-3 as soon as Nicola Pepe came on. He changed the game in a sense as well. I have come to the conclusion that players are scared to impose themselves on a game until the manager gives them permission to do so. I don't. Do you know what it is, right? It's a combination of two things. I don't think you can go gun-ho in a game, and I think you have to for the first sort of 15 minutes. I think what Arteta's telling them is just to relax themselves, play the ball around, and just get comfortable with the scenario you're in. And I think that's why it seems this way. I don't think that that's what Arteta wants them to do. I just think the players aren't confident enough to start games well, so he's slowed it down for them. He says he's saying to them, pass it about, find out what the opposition want. Here's plan A if they attack us. Here's plan B if they defend. And I think that's how he set them up. And I think that's quite a clever way of doing it, in my opinion. But kind of just going deeper into it, obviously, we had 63% possession, which was obvious once the 3 goals to kind of stop coming at us. We had 7 shots on target, 4 off target, meaning we had 11 shots in total. They had 12 shots. They had 5 on target and 7 off target. Now, they could have also won that game just as much as we did. We had an opportunity to go win this game. Now, we had 606 passes to 348. Now, obviously, we know who the goal scorers were. Substitutions from both teams as well. Let's get into that. Where the first substitution came in, actually at the same sort of time there were 3 substitutions, 2 from ourselves. They brought Noble on. We had Smith Rowe, Nicola Pepe. They brought on Ryan Fredericks just to kind of help Aaron Cresswell, I think. And then obviously we brought on Martinelli for Aubameyang a little bit too late, in my opinion. He didn't have enough time to do anything. Remember, he said they do as he says. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Samuel. I'm not disagreeing, but I just think the ability of the players isn't quite there to play the style of play Arteta wants. And I think that's the best way I can sum that one up. But one thing I did want to do is look at touch map of Callum Chambers. You're playing out on the right. Now, when you look at this, right, this is what you want to be seeing from your fullback, especially in the system we play. And what I do also want to do is get the heat map as well. As you can see, look, he's holding width is what I've been saying all along. Our fullbacks need to be holding width and making a variant of different crosses. You can see even in the deep, going to the bylines, and he's playing those crosses in. Obviously, these are going to be more for corners and just set pieces. But as you can see, the majority of his positioning is exactly where you need him to be. The problem with Bellerin is his heat map would come inwards like this. Whereas with what you need him to do is hold the width. Because Kieran Tierney does this very well. Because now if you look at Kieran Tierney, fairly similar, holding the width and being that wide player. That's what we need our fullbacks to do. That's part of the problem, where our fullbacks, when we have Bellerin especially, doesn't do this. This is what Cedric also does very well. That's why Bellerin doesn't work in a system like this, and that's why I'm so happy to see Cedric and Chambers developing into the fullbacks that Arteta needs till the end of the season, especially. Chambers is becoming a squad player. He can become someone that we could be relying on in the future. Talking FCB, saying Souls, you should have started Pepe, Saka, Odegaard. You should have started Pepe, Saka, Odegaard, Laka, and not Oba. Yeah. I don't think Oba and Laka work together anyway. But when we look at the overall game for what it is, one thing I do want to get into is just Martin Odegaard's stats. Because I thought he was phenomenal. And Arsenal, please, do whatever you need to do to sign this guy. Because what I do want to say, right, 93% pass accuracy, 95 touches, 16 penalty area entries, which was the most, 9 crosses, which was the most, 6 duels won, 5 touches in the opposition box, 4 take-ons, which was the most, 4 chances created, which was the most, 3 shots, 2 fouls, and 1 shot on target. What does this tell you about this guy? I'm telling you guys, Martin Odegaard is not the finished article. There is so much more to see. There is so much more to come from him. And I hope Arsenal can pull it off and actually go and sign this guy. Now, there are a lot of talks about this. There are a lot of talks that Edu and Arsenal representatives are actually in talks to getting Martin Odegaard done. Martin Odegaard has publicly made it aware to his representatives that he wants to stay at Arsenal, which is a good sign. Now, the question is, do we keep him on a loan with an option to buy next season, or do we just go and buy him? In my opinion, we need to just buy him, because either way, his sell-on value will still be around what we pay. He's still a young, up-and-coming manager, a player that has a lot of potential. One of the best young players with a hell of a lot of potential to come. So do you think, from what you've seen and heard, do you honestly believe he's the right man for this squad? How can you know what he wants when he can't even find a system for these players? Now, Assemble, this really depends on your sort of outlook on football. The system isn't the issue. It's individual errors that are leading to a lot of the problems that we have. Now, I'm not blaming players per se, but what I am saying is that their lack of ability to play a full 90 minutes without a little bit of, without a little bit of competency and sort of awareness is what lets us down more than the fact it's the system. Because when you look at the situation, I think Arteta's getting us playing very well. He's got the system he wants. He just needs to go and pluck a few holes within the system and kind of fill a few holes and cracks within the team. We're a lot better than we've been in the past 17 years. Not where we are in the league, but the style of football we're playing and where we need and what we need to move forward. With the reason why Emery didn't get the opportunity to build on anything is because he started to do things that just didn't make sense, putting Torreira as a number 10, starting to play Carl Jenkinson, when in reality you only needed a win to get into the top 4. Now with Arteta, the difference is he's got us playing a system which is better. I'm not saying he's the perfect manager. There's by far, I'm not saying that. There's a lot of things that he does wrong, but there's actually things he's doing quite right. He's tactically setting us up quite well. Now, the results will come once we start to improve the team. Backing your manager is a key part of modern day football. The top teams spend money in the right way. They spend money on the system rather than players. What we do, on the other hand, is we buy players just to get the fan base happy, rather than players that actually fit the system or are right players. We buy the right players for the wrong time, and that's the problem. But what I do want to do is just get into a few. Big up Assemble and talking Barca. Thank you, Ryan. I hope you're well as well. Big yourself up as well. Big up everyone in the chat. It's been very engaging. Barca, Martinelli should have been bought on much earlier in the game. Last 10 minutes was on and shouldn't be that way. Oba shouldn't have been playing the match. No passion, no ambition, 100%. After 4 sitters against Olympiacos, you would think Oba would turn up. However, that was not the case at all. The man's a ghost on the pitch. Confidence and freedom brings everything. Everyone knows his tactic. Look, Arteta is going to be one of those situations. I do think he is the man for the future. Like, he's 100% going to take us where we need to be. All I'm asking is for people to do is give this man some time, because the problem that we do have at this club is when we're not looking at the bigger picture. That's the issue I have with a few fans, is we're not looking at where this guy can take us. If the one thing you don't want to do is get rid of a manager who's got every player on his side. They've got, all the players pretty much believe in the system he wants to play. They believe in him to move them forward. I'm not saying that But once he loses that dressing room, then we can have a different conversation. I feel like as he's got the respect and he demands that respect of the dressing room, I feel like we need to give the guy time because our squad is nowhere near top four. We're not. We're probably just questionably a top six team in terms of our squad and the ability they possess. But obviously, I don't want to get into the Arteta debate. Do you reckon he'll be able to loan Odegaard another year to buy him? But he's asking 40. I don't care what they're at. I think if it's 42 million, I would definitely pay it. I would be happy for Arsenal to go pay that. In terms of the Martinelli situation, yeah, he should have been bought on earlier. I think he should have started. I said he should probably start this game. I understand why he didn't, but if you're not going to start him, bring him on earlier. I think giving him 20 minutes might have changed that game, and we might have actually got a winner goal. Aubameyang again, just lacking that sort of intensity from his game. 100% right. 42 million isn't even a question to ask, really. I would go because because the rumors at the start were around 80 million. So, I think it was between 60 to 80 million were the reports when we first tried to get him. So to see that it's only 42 or 35 to 40 million, I don't think it's a question that Arsenal should be asking. Pay the money because there's no point of getting another loan move because we know what he can do. And when I tell you, I've seen the guy at Real Sociedad, this is a part of what he's going to bring. There's so much more to come. Would you swap Odegaard and Saliba? Would you swap? All right. So what? All right. Nah, no. I'd keep Saliba. I'd just pay the 42 million. I don't think there's really a need to get rid of Saliba. Because the thing with Arteta is trying to build a squad for the future rather than the present, which is what we need to be doing, which is what we should be focusing on doing. So, no, I wouldn't. I think 42 million isn't a lot, and I think the way it'll be structured, it won't financially harm the club either way. So, on that one, unless there's absolutely no plans for Saliba in the team, then yeah, go for it, I think. But I do think Saliba is part of the squad's plans. I think Arteta does want to play him. It's just unfortunate with the situation he's gone through this year, losing his dad, losing his mum. I think Arteta's just trying to protect him to a degree. As much as you want to agree or disagree with that, that's totally your opinion, and I'm not going to try and fight that opinion or anything. Odegaard is playing quality football, and he has done that at Madrid as well. Not at Madrid, I say at Real Sociedad more than at Real. He's not really played much at Real Madrid. But yeah, no, I agree with the statement. He's been brilliant at Spain. I feel like he's kind of that number 10 or midfielder that we've been missing. Someone who's got an eye for goal, but can just control the tempo, but can work hard as well, because that's kind of what Ozil's situation was. He wasn't working hard enough. Now we've got Odegaard who's come in, who gives us a lot of press in the midfield, but also offers that sort of intensity and also demands that tempo. He's got an eye for goal, and that's kind of what we've been missing all along. So yeah, no, I do agree, but I think the team was Sociedad more than Madrid. I would. He has more potential and shows his true worth on the pitch, even just for starting a few matches. I'm guessing that's the 42 more than the Saliba one. But what I do want to do is get my man of the match. West Ham United gifted us 2 goals, but we tried to turn it around in the second half. They didn't gift it us. We did still have to make it. We still had to make it difficult for them. It wasn't like the first one especially, it wasn't really given to us. It was a shot that deflected off the player. That's not really a gift. That was just unfortunate. But then when we talk about the second one, I can understand that argument. But the first one, I don't really know what. I don't know if it was Dawson or Suchek because there's different sides saying different players. But whoever's own goal it was, I just think it was one of those where I don't know what the player would have done. Like, it hit off him. It wasn't like he could have moved out in time anyway. But what I do want to do is talk about my man of the match. Unfortunately, it could only be one player. I want to give it to 2, but for me, I'll say it again. Callum Pafu, aka Callum Chambers, is my man of the match in this game. Not because I don't think Martin Odegaard wasn't good. I just think, for me, we got what we expected from Odegaard, an absolute dominant, controlling performance. You know, Callum Chambers just seemed to have stepped it up, and it was his two crosses that led to goals. It was actually Odegaard's passes that put him through to make those balls. But that's why I want to give it to them too. I don't care who really gets it out of them, but for me, it's between the two. Obviously, officially, the Premier League, I believe, gave it to Jesse Lingard, which is a shout. To be fair, he was brilliant against us, like always. But that will wrap up my review, my reaction. I kind of just wanted to get everything off my chest, really. But thank you, everyone, in the comments. You know, keep them coming. Like, subscribe, and share before you guys do go. Like this, please, and do subscribe if you haven't already. But this has been Gooner Sulz. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is going to be me signing out.